Hello, everybody. You know who it is. It's me and it's him, and we're back at it again, right? So it's me, Sean Christopher Jenkins. I'm from Uplift Past Crossroads. That's my YouTube channel. My podcast is Uplift Past Crossroads as well. I'm on every podcast platform you can think of. And then we're here with my co-host, my Jonathan, my Barnabas, my teammate, the one who's helping me to do everything, man. Justin Lee Howell. So his YouTube channel is Chaplain's Logs. So thanks for tuning in again. Uh, we got a treat for you guys today. Like, this video is about to be epic, right? It's probably gonna be the most epic video you've seen us do because it hits home for me, and I'm sure it hits home for other people as well. And it only happened because if you've been following me on my YouTube channel, you've been seeing on Uplift Past Crossroads, right? My YouTube channel, I have a lot of playlists, right? So if you scroll right here, you see a lot of playlists. If you click right here, you can click on the playlist to see all the playlists that I have on my YouTube channel. And one of the playlists I have that me and Justin been tearing up is just talking about forgiveness. So forgiving other people, forgiving them, holding on to bitterness, holding on to resentment. So check out that playlist on my YouTube channel. If you want to know how to forgive other people, if you're struggling with forgiving other people, if you're holding on to bitterness and grudges or anything like that. But today's video, it ties in with something I tweeted, right? So this is what I tweeted. It went with our forgiveness series. I tweeted, "You can't expect to be forgiven if you can't forgive." This is what I tweeted on April 10th, 2023. And this person commented, "Even if the person you can't forgive is yourself." And so she was asking a question. And honestly, that question had nothing to do with what I commented. I mean, what I tweeted. You can't expect to be forgiven if you can't forgive. But it was a great question, right? So this video is for her. Like, and for anybody who has that same problem about, the problem of forgiving yourself, right? So I'm gonna use I'm gonna ask those questions. Are you hard on yourself, right? Do you regret the way you handled things in the past? Do you always think about the past decisions that you made and what you would have done different, right? Do you wish you could relive and redo those moments in your life? Because I'm one of those type of people, man. So her question, even if the person you can't forgive is yourself, like, have you forgiven yourself for all your past mistakes, your past decisions, your past experiences, like those ones that you wish you thought you needed to experience, but you wish you never would have experienced because it didn't do anything for you, right? And you know what? One thing I think about all the time, and I imagine is if I can redo my life. Like, what if I could be a baby again with the same knowledge, the same wisdom, the same insight, the same experiences that I have right now, and I can go back to being a baby again with the same life, like the same events occurring, the same everything. Like, what advantage would I have over everybody if I was a baby and I and I thought like I do now? You know what I mean? As a 30-year-old man, like, I wish I could. I would do anything for that to happen. And then also give me high school, especially give me high school, right? All those times in classes when we didn't do anything and I could just be gearing up for YouTube or doing YouTube videos already. And that's another thing too, college. Oh yes, college, man. So yeah, so the questions I have for everybody was, and Justin, I'll let you answer it. Hope you thought these questions through, right? The ones that I texted
Yeah,
you. All right, cool.
yeah.
So I'll let you talk and then I'll go in. All right. So one of my questions was, is there anything you're struggling to forgive yourself for? If so, what is it? So I'm gonna ask it again. Is there anything you're struggling to forgive yourself for? If so, what is it? So I'll let you take it over, Justin.
So I was trying to find a specific example, but honestly, for me, it's like I think everyone has like an area of their life that they can't seek forgiveness for. For me, I have a hard time forgiving myself when I like upset a person or someone has like a strong response to me. Like that just makes my stomach drop when someone comments about like how I shouldn't have done something or how I was like an inconvenience and something like that. And so that one's an especially hard one for me. Maybe because like I'm a people pleaser, or maybe I just really care about what people think, or I don't want people to leave me. I'm not sure. It could go back to any number of things, but that's like a big area for me. I guarantee that's probably like a big area for a lot of people as well. Like we just are inclined to please people, or we really care about what people think. Like, look at Facebook. Like, people are addicted to likes and comments, and heart emojis. It's like you want to be accepted by your people. I think that's especially hard lesson nowadays, just because back centuries ago, like maybe we only knew like 50 people, and as long as most of those people liked us, we would be happy and content. But now it's like we can know like 1,000 people, and like we never know what those people think about us at one time. But like when I try to forgive myself for those, I do kind of think like I can't affect like what other people feel. Like I can only affect what I do. I can only affect my attitude, my actions. So that's like a big part that plays into forgiveness for that, is like I need to not only forgive the other person for making me feel that way, but also forgive myself for like not having enough grace on myself.
Yeah.
That kind of the direction you were hoping for? That's kind of what I was like meandering or writing down.
Yeah, man. Like that was the question. Like, is there anything you're struggling to forgive yourself for? So, like, that could be like the main thing you always think about. Like, so for me, it's a few stuff. Like, but it's mainly just I talk about it all the time on YouTube video. I should really show the playlist, but it'll be on the description later on whenever I get time to edit the video and stuff and add cards and end screens and all that hashtags. But one playlist that I have on there on my YouTube channel, and that me and Justin actually done Bible studies on. Yeah, we actually did a whole like New Year's resolution on it, like basically living with regret.
Yeah, that's right.
We talked about living with regret, and like that's my thing. Like I don't care what choices I make, what decisions I make. Like that's what I figured out. Like here goes some wise advice for young people or for anybody. Like I don't care what decision you make, if whether it's the best decision or whether it's the crappiest. Like you can make the best decision ever. You're still gonna have regret, right? Because like everything has a cost, just like Jesus said, count the cost, right? So there's a pro and a con for a good decision, and there's a pro and a con for a bad decision. But most of the time, the cons outweigh the pros with a bad decision. But with a good decision, obviously the pros outweigh the cons. But there's always the FOMO, like the fear of missing out. Like, what if I would have did this? And that's where I'm at, right? Because I can't say like every decision I made was flawless. Like it kind of like it's up there, but it wasn't like I just try my best to make decisions like Jesus. Like I wish I knew what Jesus knew. I wish I was Jesus. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just like that's not a bad way of saying it. I just wish I had like I wish I was so close to God that I knew everything he knew. You know what I mean? Like, because Jesus was like that. Jesus knew exactly who to go to and what city when he first in his ministry, right? At the age of 30. He knew what city to go to, who he was going to talk to, or where he was going to go, whose house he was going to live in that night. He didn't have a house. He didn't have a job when he was 30 to 33 before he died, right? Like, he didn't even work. Like, so how was he having money? Like, because he had Mary Magdalene, Salome, Mary, Martha. Like, he had women support his ministry because they had money, right? So if you look in the book of Luke, you'll see that. But like, so Jesus knew exactly who to go to get what he needed, right? Because he was in God's will. So when you're in God's will, you're doing things God's way, you get God's provision, you get God's blessing, you get God's favor, right? You just get the best of life, basically. You get exactly what you need for whatever you're going through because God will lead you to get what you need, right? That's plenty of scripture verses like Psalms 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He making me lie down in green pastures. He restores my soul. He leads me beside the still waters. Yeah, though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I will fear no either, for thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff to comfort me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the Lord is your shepherd. He's guiding you. He's leading you in green pastures, right? It didn't say in dry land. It said green pastures. So when you're in God's will, that's what he does with you. He leads you on the righteous path, the right way, right? And so, like, for me, I can't say, like, it's really hard to say, like, all my decisions, like, for example, like with investing, I talk about investing on my YouTube channel all the time, right? And like one thing I regret and I struggle to forgive myself for is just listening to my dad. Like my dad was the one person in 2016 when I graduated from college and I worked for Bank of America, was making $80,000 a year, guys, $40 an hour, right? $40 an hour, $80,000 a year right after college in 2016, right? So like, I knew Tesla was the best stock to invest in. It was at $30 or $40 at that time. Same thing for Netflix. Netflix had just started around that time. Like it was like 2013 it started. But actually it was way before that. But like it started getting popular like 2013. Like so 2016, like the stock was only at $30. So I knew obviously my projection was Netflix was going to go to $500. It's at 300 right now, and the stock market has crashed, right? So obviously, it went way past that. It went to like $700, right, a share. By the way, all right. And then Tesla, don't even get me started on Tesla. Tesla was at $30 or $40 in 2016. It was at $1,700 like 2 years ago before the stock split last year. And they have multiple stock splits, by the way. So they're really at like $35,000 a share. But because of stock splits right now is at $150. So obviously I'm investing in Tesla now. But like if I would have invested back then, my life would be totally different. I would be on a yacht. I would obviously be advertising all my videos and doing advertisements and promotions on every video. And how much I post, oh my gosh, it's over. Right? You know? And then I regret not investing sooner, like in the Bitcoin in 2013. It wasn't even at, I don't even think it was at $60. It was at like 10. No, it was below that. Like it was cheap. And guys, Bitcoin went to $80,000. You don't got Bitcoin right now, you better go ahead and get it. $2, $3 a day, $1 a day. You better, because you can invest like that with Bitcoin and Ethereum on Coinbase. That was the application. So yeah, guys. So obviously, I'm investing in Bitcoin and Ethereum. They're at Bitcoin's at 29,000 right now, but it's been flirting around with 16,000. Like that's the lowest it went in the past 3 years, and then the lowest it went, guys. All right, it's going back to 80,000. What do you say?
Sounds like you still have regrets.
Yeah, until I do better, which we're going to talk about on this video. So like that's just what investing, right? So I regret not having confidence in what I knew to invest in at that time. Like I knew like these stocks are going up. I should never listen to my dad. I should never listen to anybody. That's another thing, guys. Like when God's leading you to do something, just do it. Don't listen to nobody. You don't need anybody's approval. You don't need your parents' approval. You don't need anybody to pat you on the back and say, yes, you should do that. You don't need confirmation. Like they'll give you that if it's God's will, right? It will just come out. You don't have to ask. You don't have to beg. You don't have to pin on what people have to say. All right. So basically, my point is forgive yourself for not knowing what you couldn't know and for not doing what you couldn't do at that time. Right? Like I'm real hard on myself. I know you can see just from investing. I haven't even talked about pastoring. Like that's another thing. I went to school for computer science. Everybody sees if you just talk to me a little bit, you can see how technical I am. Like I'm really technical. I know computers. I'm a computer scientist. That means I'm a scientist when it comes to computers, right? So I know how it works, how it operates, how to manipulate it, I could hack you if I really wanted to. I could hack you. Like, because hacking is easy, right? But it just depends on what kind of hacking we're talking about, right? Okay, you guys know what I'm trying to say. All right, let's stay on topic. But like, yeah, like I went to school for computer science. And that was great because coming out of college, obviously my salary is going to be over $70,000. Like that will be the minimum for entry level. Obviously, I can make more than that now, right? After 6 years experience. But like, I wish I would have went to school for preaching, but I listened to my dad again. And it was great advice. Like he was just trying to make sure that, money wise, I was good. Because money, just taking care of that, nipping that in the bud, you ain't going to have a lot of problems if you don't have money problems. Right? Like money problems add to life problems. Like, and it makes it even worse. Like, so just having money helps out. So yeah, it was you see what I'm saying? Like computer science was great. It was good. Yeah. But is that my calling? Do I love it? Am I passionate about it? Like, is that my reason for being? Like, am I the most gifted in that? No, I'm not. Like, it's preaching, it's talking, it's motivational speaking. Like, I wish I would have just went to school straight into preaching. Right? Because now, like, it would have put me further ahead. But now I'm behind of where I should be. You know what I mean? And I'm more stressed out because I have more obligation, more things to do, stuff for work, stuff I don't even want to do, right? Projects I don't even want to be on, like working for the man, right? Doing things that they want me to do when I should be doing the Lord's work and what I know he wants me to do with my ministries, right? So I have to work twice as hard. I have to do their work and I have to do my ministerial work on my social media pages and ministerial work just to become a minister with education, board examiners in the ME church. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a lot. When I could have just went for preaching and just focus on my social media pages. But then I wasn't on social media like that. You see what I'm saying? It took me a while to figure out social media with me not being as technical, right? Now I can just do stuff quickly on the fly, just figure it out because I've been through it before and been through the trenches with computer science. Then, like, I just got a lot of regret. I would list all of them, but I'm talking too much now. Like,
I want to jump in on that too.
Yeah.
Like, big thing about, like, everyone has regrets too. And like, I like how you said, like, oh, I just wish I had done like what Jesus would want me to do. Or if like I could go back in time, like I would do this, and this, and this differently. But the thing is, that's a good point. We aren't Jesus. We aren't God. We don't know how things would play out. I think it's really useless to think back, oh, I should have done this. Like, the only one who knows how it will play out is like God. Like, even if we went back and did things differently, who's to say like we would be in a better situation? Like, what's that movie, The Butterfly Effect?
Mm-hmm.
It's where he figured out how to go back in time and he changed this one little thing to like supposedly make that situation better. But then when he returned to the future or the present time or whatever, like everything was worse. Like it kept getting worse. Like it caused, I think the quote is like, even the flap of a butterfly wings can like stir up a tornado. It's like one action can change multitude of things in the future. Like, we aren't God, so we can't assume we know what would have been best. Like, who knows, like, if the bad decisions weren't part of God's plan as well to make us the person we are today. Like, the Bible even says, like, God uses even the bad situations for your own good. So I don't know. I just something I don't like in movies is like time travel, where people like go back in time and make things better. Which is kind of ironic because my favorite movie is like Back to the Future, which does everything. But it's like, or the Marvel movies, for example, they try to go back in time to undo all the pain and hurt that Thanos did. And it's like, I didn't like that because like that keeps you from, if you're so stuck in the past of thinking like how you should do things, you can't really focus on the future. Like all those characters were like grieving and stuck in the past instead of focusing on the future and how to make things better or how to fix things. Because like I think in later TV shows that showed that it was kind of a mistake bringing all those people back in, because then everything was overpopulated and the world had already changed in that 5-year period or something like that. I'm sorry, anyone who hasn't seen the Marvel movies or is behind in the Marvel movies like me, I'm sorry, that's probably, you didn't understand any of that. What I'm just saying is like, everyone has those thoughts of like, man, if I had just done this differently, it would have turned out this way. One, you don't know that. Like it could prevent you from doing things that you don't know. My wife and I kind of express a regret that we didn't start dating earlier when we knew each other. Like years ago, then we would be married sooner. But we were also very different people back then. So we were wondering like, maybe we needed time to mature. Like, we don't know. But, like, sometimes you can use your regrets to make better decisions in the future. Like, that's not to say you can't use that information. But it's so useless to think of the what ifs. Because we really don't know how it'll play out. We're not God. We don't have his omnipresence. We don't have his ability to, like, know who to talk to, where we need to be. So like that's one thing that helps me get rid of regret, is just knowing that I don't know if it would have turned out better. Maybe this is where God wants me to be.
Right. Well, that's the whole point of this video, man. I'm about to hit the nail on the head with where you just went. So the whole point of this video, guys, somebody asked me this question on my Twitter page. They asked me, well, I tweeted, you can't expect to be forgiven if you can't forgive. And she said, even if the person you can't forgive is yourself. Yes. Like, even if the person you can't forgive is yourself. Like, forgiving yourself is so important. And so many people don't do it. They just beat themselves up. Like, they live in the past and live off of, like, woulda, coulda, shoulda. Like, and that's all they do. And they're missing out on the moments that they have right now in their lives. And they're going to always be saying woulda, coulda, shoulda in each and every single season of their life, because they're living in the past and they refuse to see what's right in front of them, what God is doing right now in this moment. Because you only got this moment once. You only got today's date once. You're only gonna be 30 once. And, like, I used to live as if I was gonna live forever. Like when I was 16, like, yeah, I'm young, like every age. Now I'm 30. Like I'm not that young no more. Like, you know what I'm saying? So there's certain things you gotta do while you're young and you won't be able to do when you're older. You see what I'm saying? Like you gotta utilize every single season, every single moment. You gotta seize the moment, seize the opportunity. Like there's a quote I used to have on my wall. Like if you guys watch my YouTube channel a lot, you know that in my apartment, and when I get a house, you'll see it like crazy in my office. It's gonna be awesome, right? And on my wall in my apartment, I had quotes all over my wall, quotes and Bible verses. These were quotes and stuff that I want to memorize and just always think about 24/7. Like one of the quotes said, like, how did it start off? It says the opportunity of a lifetime must be seized in the lifetime of the life in the lifetime of the opportunity. Just like trouble don't last always, opportunity doesn't either. So you gotta seize the opportunity while it's in front of you. So many people think they're gonna get that opportunity again, the opportunity to be a dancer, the opportunity to be in the NBA, the opportunity to preach, the opportunity to love. Oh yes, the opportunity to love that woman, love that girl that's right in front of you in college, like high school, like middle school. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like you don't get that opportunity again. You gotta utilize every season because you don't know what's gonna happen, what life may throw at you. Like the book of Ecclesiastes says, you don't know what calamity might strike. You better use and seize every single moment. That person could be dead tomorrow. That opportunity could be gone tomorrow and go to somebody else that wants it more, right? So like my whole point, like Justin was saying, like we're only human. We're only human. Like I'm so hard on myself. I'm a perfectionist. So like when things don't go my way, when things don't go the way I plan, I plan too. Like, it just stings, man. So like like, yeah, I'm just real hard on myself. So one of my quotes I got for you guys is, forgive yourself totally, utterly, and with no strings attached, because self-love is being at peace with all the broken pieces about you, right? Or all the broken pieces in your life, right? I'm gonna read it again. Forgive yourself totally, utterly, and with no strings attached, because self-love is being at peace with all of our broke pieces. So like a lot of people are hard on themselves, man. Like be kind to yourself. Like you're kind to other people. Like sometimes it's easier to forgive other people than it is to forgive yourself, right? And the only forgiveness that really matters is God's forgiveness and your forgiveness. That's the only forgiveness that matters. It could be other people can forgive you, but if you don't forgive yourself, it's only going to hinder your blessing. It's only going to hinder you from your freedom and liberation and your healing that you could be having through all the hurt, harm, danger you caused yourself and others. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's okay to not be so perfect, to say things you cannot take back, to make choices that weren't correct, to react when you could have walked away, right? You see, we are all wonderful, imperfect humans, still trying to figure it all out. We may not.
I also kind of add to that real fast.
Yeah.
You said forgiveness that's important is like God's forgiveness and your forgiveness. I definitely think God's forgiveness is like top tier. That's right. The most important. I do think we should seek forgiveness from people we've wronged or seek forgiveness for other people, because that's extending that's extending grace to other people. I feel like if you can help them overcome a hurdle, I think that's great. But it should be known that you're not responsible for their forgiveness. I just want to say, like, I still think it's important, because like if your friends are struggling with not forgiving something, I think it is like a blessing for them if you help them with that. So I wouldn't say it's not important. Yeah, I just want you're not responsible for it though.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna hit that later too.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. You can.
No, you good. I'm gonna finish that quote. So it says, it's okay to not be so perfect, to say things you cannot take back, to make choices that weren't correct, to react when you could have walked away. You see, we're all wonderful and perfect humans still trying to figure it all out. We may not always get it right, but we learn so that we can elevate just a little bit more each time. This is a reminder to be kinder to yourself. Like in this life, you're gonna make mistakes. Like you're gonna fail. That's what the Bible says. Like none of us are perfect. None of us are righteous. No, not one. Only Jesus was. He's the only one who will make a perfect decision every single time. Why? Because he's God and he knows how life operates because he created it, right? And he knows his people, he knows everything. You're not God. You don't have all the answers. You don't know. Like, so, like, obviously, no matter how hard you try, you're gonna make decisions and make choices that you're gonna probably regret later on, whether those are good choices or bad, and that's okay. But it's about making better choices as you go by. It's about learning from your experiences so that you can elevate more and more each and every single day. It's about evolving and self improvement, right? And so that's why that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this video. Like, yeah, man, like it's just so many directions that we can go in. But one thing I want to say too is, I mean, you can be forgiven for anything. Like some people think like there's just some things you can't be forgiven for, and they live like that. They live as if it's the end of the world, and like, this is my fate. Like, and oh yeah, it's an example. Justin, do you have anything? I want to find this analogy that I was looking for.
Yeah, I think like kind of going back to the quote too. It's like even if your forgiveness of yourself is very important, because it's like if you've wronged someone and you feel bad about it, like even if that person has forgiven you, like you wouldn't be able to receive that forgiveness if you haven't forgiven yourself. Like it's not like, not only are you affecting yourself, I feel like you're stunting or halting the blessings that other people can receive as well. Like if you deny someone's forgiveness, if you still let that fester or linger inside of you, like you're keeping a blessing away from other people, in my opinion. I don't want to make I do want to, like, I know that sounds kind of selfish of me to like say, hey, don't concentrate on yourself, think about the other people. But like I do think forgiving yourself is a good start, because it allows forgiveness, other people's forgiveness, to enter. And I feel like that allows you to be closer to the people you might have like regrets or bad blood with. Yeah, honestly, I still think like, yeah, you might have regrets over like not buying certain stocks or not like getting certain things, but I do think like things that are really hard to forgive yourself for are the events where it involves with another person. So, and I am curious on like what that girl with the quote that you had a screenshot of. I do kind of wonder like what her regrets are, or what things like she wouldn't regret that she can't forgive herself for. But I do wonder if it involves another person, because those are always the hardest ones. Those hinder relationships. So that's a big part of forgiving yourself, is because that helps mend relationships. Like Sean's already mentioned before, like not forgiving yourself hinders you in so many areas, whether it's relationships or your potential, or like moving forward, or like making wise decisions in the future. Like it's gosh, it branches out too much. I can't choose which one to like talk about, but like let's focus in on, like, I've already talked about relationships. Let's focus in on your future. Like if you haven't forgiven yourself, if you're scared to make decisions because you haven't forgiven yourself, you're not moving forward that way. You're not going in the direction that God wants you to. You're not using your full potential. Like if anything, you making mistakes can be a blessing in itself, because it teaches you on like what not to do. Like I think it's interesting that Sean says if only he could be like reincarnated as a baby with all his knowledge. It's like that's kind of like what's happening now. It's like we're gaining that knowledge. Like the only thing is we're not a baby again, but we still retain that knowledge of making better decisions in the future. Yeah. But that's only if like you don't get in your way. That's only if you like allow that to channel your actions in a very healthy, very productive manner.
You killing it, man. All right, so because we're kind of already going there, and we're hitting this question I had. So my other question was, so guys, me and Justin answered this first question. Is there anything you're struggling to forgive yourself for? If so, what is it? I have a long list, so I may have to do another video because there's no need to keep on talking about it. All right, so basically, I'm just asking, like, what regrets do you need to stop being yourself about? Yeah, well, beating yourself up about, and then what do you need to get over? Like, what do you regret? What do you need to get over? So, my second question was, how did you overcome getting over that mistake you made, your past decisions, that regret, etc.? Are you loving yourself now instead of living in constant condemnation, shame, etc.? Like, this is the whole point of the video. Like, do you feel like you're living in constant condemnation, shame, like grudges, resentment, like all that stuff? Like, do you think that's the life God wants for you?
Mm.
You think He didn't factor in all the mistakes you're gonna make in this life, right? And like that was my third question. My third question was, can we name a few Bible examples, like a few Bible characters that went through the same thing, that had to forgive themselves, right? Who in the Bible beat themselves up about the sin that they made? Like as a believer, it's important and vital to beat yourself up about the sins and mistakes that you made. If you don't beat yourself up over it, something's wrong with you. You don't know God. You don't have no fear. You don't have no fear of God because you don't see the reason. You don't see the importance of like weeping over sin and
Mm.
being forced to be even more distant from God, from those sins and stuff like that. You guys get what I'm saying? But like a few Bible examples is like I said Judas and Peter when me and Justin were talking, and like they're polar opposites. Like Peter shows us what happens when you do it the right way, when you forgive yourself for the mistakes that you done made. Peter denied Jesus 3 times. He didn't just make that mistake; he made a lot of them. Jesus was washing the disciples' feet one time, and what did Peter say? Don't wash my feet, wash my whole body. First he said, don't wash me at all. Like I should be washing your feet, Lord. And Jesus
Mm.
said, if I don't wash your feet, I don't have anything to do with you. He said, okay, wash my whole body then. He said, Peter, I don't need to wash your whole body. You've already been baptized. You've already been clean. So I just gotta wash your feet. Like, you just been walking. Right. And so like, yeah, so that's one way Peter fell. Peter fell another way, like when the storm hit and Jesus was sleeping in the boat. Like, yeah, you should wake up Jesus in the boat so that he can calm the storm. Like he had power to do anything. But Jesus promised them that they would make it to the other side. They feared death. Like, and they were telling Jesus, we're about to die. Like when they woke him up, like and saying, like, prepare for your death, Jesus. Like he was like, don't you have faith? Like, don't you know who I am? Like, oh man. All right. And so like, yeah, Peter failed him many times, but then the most important, like the biggest failure that we know him for is when he denied him 3 times. He denied that he knew Jesus 3 times in a crowd of people. And it said that Jesus was afar, right? He even warned Peter that you would deny me. And Peter even promised, I would never deny you, man. If all these fall away from you. So he's talking about all the rest of the disciples. If they fall away from you and they betray you, like I wouldn't. Like, and so he failed Jesus. The rooster, he said, Jesus promised Peter, when the rooster crowed 3 times, then you'll know you denied me 3 times. You'll hear the rooster crow. I know he remembered that because it's like, why would I hear a rooster crow? Right? And so it said that when the last time when he denied him and the rooster crowed, some way Jesus was looking at afar, right at Peter from afar. So like at least 3 football fields. He was far away, right? 300 yards, a long way away. And somehow they locked eyes with each other, right? Jesus is being beaten. They putting wool on him, like they done whipped him and everything, and put wool on him and been taking it on with all the scratches and bruises and stuff like that. Like that hurts. Like he's being tortured and beaten. And he's looking at Peter in that moment, eye to eye, while they're trying to take him to his chamber, probably. And, and Peter remembers. It said that he remembered what Jesus said. Like, how would you feel if you failed and God looks at you? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like your parent looking at you when you done really effed up, really messed up. Like, it's worse than that. And then what happened? Peter could have committed suicide. He could have gave up. But what did he do? He just kept on living. He tried to move on. And that's the whole point, guys. Like forgiving yourself takes time. It's not a one-time event. It's not something that just happened automatically. Like Peter didn't just forgive himself. Like it's a process, right? And he didn't have to do it alone. God did it for him, right? All you gotta do is keep on living, keep on breathing, like keep on having faith. God will come to you. He will give you the forgiveness and the healing that you need, right? He'll help you to see that it's okay. I still love you. That's all you need to hear. Like he ain't gave up on you. Like failure doesn't disqualify you from God's kingdom, right? Mistakes don't disqualify you from God using you, right? Prime example is Peter, right? And the disciples. They all weren't there. They all failed Jesus in some kind of way. Even John, right? Even you, right? And God still can use you. God still wants to use you. God still wants to restore you and renew you and make you a pillar of the church like Peter. Like, come on, man. Like, we serve a good God, man. But then you got Judas, right? Judas, he beat himself up over what he did. Jesus even told you, one of y'all gonna betray me. And Jesus still let him eat with the disciples. Jesus still let him be a disciple, knowing this is the one that's gonna betray me. This is one that's not even for me. Like, he's really my enemy. He ate with the enemy, he talked with the enemy, he treated the enemy like a friend, and he still betrayed him. Right? So obviously Judas, after betraying Jesus, for I think 30 shekels of silver or something like that. All right. So he didn't even want the silver no more. It wasn't enough. Right? He said, man, and he cared about money. That says a lot. Like, you can see a lot of times in the Gospels that Judas was doing stuff for money, right? And like, long story short, guys, you know that Judas hung himself eventually, right? Some of y'all are doing that. Like, we make a mistake and you hang yourself, right? You live by that failure, that mistake, like that defines you. Like, that mistake, that's who I am. No, it's not. Like, we all make mistakes. We all mess up. We all don't get it right. That's life. That's life. That's life. You know that song? Like, so like we gotta stop being so hard on ourselves. Like, because the harder you are on yourself, the harder you are gonna be on other people. That's why there's so many people that are so critical and judgmental and everything like that towards other people, because you acting like you don't get it right, but you know you don't. You know you messed up, right? So the harshest people are the most judgmental, man. So Judas didn't forgive himself. He didn't accept the forgiveness that God so freely gives all of us. That's the key. For you can only forgive yourself if you accept, receive, and believe and experience the forgiveness of God. You can't experience it unless you believe it. You have faith in it, right? If you don't see even if you don't see the point in it, forgiveness is always there. It's always available. It's ready for you. What is forgiveness? Me and Justin are going to talk about that, but forgiveness is healing. Forgiveness is breakthrough. Forgiveness is restoration. Like, you have to go through forgiveness, right? That's the whole point of forgiving yourself and other people. And when you forgive other people, it's really for you. It ain't even for them. It's so that you can receive freedom. So you let them off the hook so that you can just move on. That's all it is, right? So it's the same thing with you. If you don't let yourself off the hook, how can you move on? You have to let it go. You gotta let go of the past. You can't live in the past. Justin, I'll let you go. I'm talking forever, man. My bad, man.
No, you're good. I'm actually just eating it up. I'm just listening. On fire, man. But yeah, I think that's gosh, where do I even start with that? Like, all that's like, it's a nail on the head, like, perfectly. It's like, if you I really like how what you were saying, like, the most stingent people are like the most judgmental as well. Like, if you don't have grace for yourself, you probably don't have grace for other people. I think that's like absolutely true. I thought that was a really cool, because I never thought about that, because we tend to project our own like insecurities onto other people. Like, if you think people are acting loud, it's sometimes you're afraid that you're a loud person to people, or you're being annoying towards other people. So if you can't forgive someone for something, that's because you're being harsh on yourself as well. So yeah, that goes back into like how forgiveness, even though your attitude, your state of mind is the only thing you can affect, even though that's still true. It just goes to show how forgiveness is it's relational as well. Like, it can break down or build up relationships very easily. And as Sean said, it's not an action. It's not just like a single thing. It's definitely, like, in my opinion, maybe an attitude. I think is the best way to describe it, because you have to constantly shift into that state of mind. Like, you can't just like be one and done with it. It's something you have to repeat, something you have to get into the habit of. until eventually, like, when you go back to those regrets, when you go back to thinking about what someone has done for you, like, it doesn't elicit feelings of anger in you. And that doesn't just happen overnight. That is something that takes time to do. So I do really like that. Gosh, pretty much I'm just gonna repeat everything Sean said, because everything he said was right. It's like it really does affect your relationships on, like, how much grace you have for yourself. And I think it's very important to think about, like, what does God think of you? Like, does he see you as a failure or a disappointment? No, like, throughout the Bible, yeah, he gets angry or he gets upset with all of his followers at one point or another. But, like, if he really never forgave us, if he really didn't love us, he wouldn't keep coming back to us. Like, he wouldn't keep giving us chances. Like, for Paul, like, Paul, like, or Peter. No, I'll use Peter since Sean was saying Peter. For Peter, man, he made, like, so many mistakes, but that's, like, he's a perfect representation of us because we keep making mistakes. So, but, like, Jesus continued to disciple him, to give him room to grow, to correct him. And it's like, that's the relationship that we should have with God. Like, we should see ourselves the way God sees, like, flawed but loved.
All right, man. Man, you killed it, man. I did not see that coming at all. Like, yeah, so guys, I like how you pointed out Peter. Like, after Peter denied Jesus 3 times, and when Jesus in John 21, which me and Justin gonna do a video on next week, in John 21, we see that Jesus cooked breakfast. He cooked breakfast, guys, with a fire. Like, this is after he died on the cross and he came back. He was using a grill. Like, what the heck? Like, I don't make no sense to me. He was cooking the fish that the disciples caught, when they had that great catch at first when they had nothing, right? And so he was restoring Peter. Allowing Peter to confess his faith for Jesus publicly in front of friends. And see, that's how God does it, guys. He doesn't force and impose himself on you. No, he babies you a little bit. He prepares you, right? We got a God that prepares us. He doesn't just thrust us into situations that we're not ready for, right? He doesn't just give us all the blessings in the world that's meant for us. No, we got to work for it. We got to receive, and we got to have the responsibility and the mindset that we need in order to hold those blessings, to sustain those blessings, maintain those blessings, upkeep those blessings. You guys know what I'm saying? So, like, yeah, with that story, basically Jesus told Peter, follow me, feed my sheep. And he said it 3 times to remind Peter, like, not just that of his denial of Jesus, right? The 3 denials, but so that he was giving him a commission, right? Even though that you failed me, I'm still going to use you, right? Like, follow me, Peter. Feed my sheep. Like, do you love me, Peter? Okay, tend to my sheep. Like, he still wanted to use Peter despite his slip-ups, despite the greatest failure ever. Like, the greatest probably mistake he ever made in life, right? Denying Jesus 3 times. Like, then on top of that, is that the last time Peter failed? Like, after he denied Jesus? No, he failed a lot more. All of us do. Like, just because God restores you and everything, if you still living, you still gonna make mistakes, right? I still remember some parties told me, Christians, somebody commented online to me one time on my Instagram page, like, once you're saved, you never make mistakes. You never fail. You just always do things God's way. All right, man. He was black, so I don't know why I'm talking like that. But anyways, that's what he sounded like to me when I read that comment. But based on what Justin said, man, and what I just said, we got to forgive ourselves, not just once, but again and again, as many times as it takes to find peace. Because you're going to make mistakes, man. And you can't be so hard on yourself, right? As a child of God, honestly, God not even hard on you, man. Like, God is gracious. We serve a forgiving God. Like, he's always ready to help us, ready to pick us back up again. The righteous fall 7 times, but they get back up 8. We fall down, but we get up. Oh, Lord Jesus. I felt the spirit though. Yeah, so like so don't miss today's opportunities because you're so focused and so occupied on the opportunities you missed. God will give every opportunity that's right for you in this season. So, like, there's some blessings waiting on you with your name on it. There's some opportunities that you can seize right now and attain. God's favor is still on you, but you got to receive it, man. You can't live off of yesterday's blessings, yesterday's missed opportunities. 50 years ago's, uh, 50 years ago's good times. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a new day. God does a new thing every single day, right? We're a new creation. We ain't the same. We should be growing every single day. That means our blessings are going to look different, right? You can't live off of yesterday's blessings. Today's a new day. God's doing a new thing, man. So that's the whole point of today's video, man. Forgive your old self. Forgive your old self. You changed. You're a completely different creature, right? I'm so hard on myself, my past self. And like that's what the Spirit's been telling me. Like this is the season I'm in right now, guys. Like just regretting. Let me name a few more regrets. I regret not investing, like I said. I regret not being a pastor sooner. Like I know I'm gonna have a ministry, a huge ministry like Joel Osteen and Stephen Furtick, TD Jakes. I know I am. I would be there right now if I just went straight to ministry. But because I didn't, I'm taking a long way around. But that was God's plan. Like I know it's not mine. Like I only did what God called me to do. That means I'm gonna get what God wants me to have. I ain't gonna get what I want, right? So I'm gonna get there. We're gonna get there, right? Just keep on obeying God. So you obey God even when you don't understand. My YouTube channel. Oh man, that's the biggest regret I got. I wish I would have gone on YouTube in college. That was the perfect time. Because Justin, man, I had so many people already talking to me, asking me for Bible advice. Like, oh, that's preacher man right there. That's bishop. That's deacon right there. Like, they didn't even know me. They just called me by that name. Like, I mean, I know this guy that know the Bible, man. He can answer your questions. They always calling me to answer somebody's question. I ain't want nothing to do with nobody. I just wanted to. I was in Sodom and Gomorrah at Tennessee State University. I just wanted to be with the Lord, spend time with Him, and prepare for preaching. All I was doing was journaling. That's all I was doing. I was just hoarding my gift, holding back what God wanted me to say. I mean, obviously, I would share it in private, right? But I was too scared to go public on YouTube because I wasn't ready for reproach. I wasn't ready for criticism and haters and stuff like that. See, God does everything for a reason. I wasn't ready, but I wish I would have did it anyways. But I wasn't ready. Same thing for preaching. I wish I would have preached at 17. I knew at 17 years old I was called to preach, but I wasn't ready. Shoot, at 17 going through this board of examiners, heck no, man, you crazy. They hear me church. No, sir. They would do me wrong, man. Like another mistake I got, man, staying in relationships longer than I should have with Taylor, my ex. She didn't love me. Like I should have just left her without giving any explanation. She didn't deserve one. And that's kind of I am. My cutoff game strong. Like you toxic and I just don't need to talk to you. I'm keeping my peace. Like you'll figure it out. God will tell you why I left. Like, because God's speaking through my actions and through when I talk. It don't matter. Right. So yeah, man, I just got a lot of regrets, man. And like, man, like forgive your old self, you changed, man. There's no sense in punishing your future for mistakes of your past. Forgive yourself, grow from it, and learn from it.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
And then let it go. That's all you can do. That's life. Learning, growing, evolving, improving. That's the best way to explain it. Becoming more like Christ every single day. That's it. Right? The more you know of yourself, the more you forgive yourself. Because you're flawed. You jacked up. You make mistakes. And you don't say everything you should say to your kids the way that you should say it. Right? I'm a living example of that. My parents are perfect. Right? But they got flaws too. Like I know all of them. Like, what I'm saying? So you can be the greatest parent ever. Right? My parents have been married all my life for 33 years. I'll be 31 this year. My other brother will be 32. So for 33 years, right? Black parents. How many black families are like that? Where the father and the mother are married for that long and the father's in the children's lives, right? That's not even black families either. That's white families, all families, but especially black families. So like, yeah, man, like my family perfect, man. But like we got flaws too. They make mistakes. So forgive yourself. You did the best you could with who you were at that time. Even if others forgive you for your mistakes, it won't feel good unless you forgive yourself. So stop keeping track of the mistakes you made. It's time to forgive yourself, right? So Justin, I'll let you go, man. You got anything? Because I'm going in.
Yeah, it's like this kind of goes back into a video that we had done before. It's like misconceptions about forgiveness. And I think a big part of it is like some people can't forgive themselves because they don't want to forget what happened. Like that's perfectly reasonable. You should not forget. Like, why repeat the same mistake? But again, like, forgiveness is not sweeping something under the rug, or like forgetting something. It's simply releasing yourself from that responsibility of being guilty or being angry at yourself. But you still remember it. Like, that's still a big part of this, is that you still learn from it. And I know like we've kind of already said that, but again, that's a big misconception of like forgiving yourself is just like, oh, forgetting it one and done. But no, it's like, and that's going too far, in my opinion. Like, there always needs to be a good balance of, you need to have grace for yourself when you forgive yourself, but you should also like seek a certain humbleness and like repent to God for mistakes that you've made. So there needs to be a good balance somewhere in there. I forgot what Sean was saying that made me think about that and why I was looking at my notes, but I feel like that's just important to continue to grow more Christ-like, is to like not think that by forgiving yourself that you're what am I trying to say? By forgiving yourself, you're not releasing yourself from the responsibility. You still were responsible for it. But like, it, in my opinion, that's a great way to be accountable, because you're showing grace for yourself to open yourself up to better relationships, but you're still keeping yourself accountable for any mistakes that you make. Like, we're gonna make mistakes. That's good that we make mistakes. It's kind of good that we don't. Sometimes it's good that we don't listen to advice people give, like, because like parents will tell us what not to do, but we never internalize that lesson until like we make the mistake ourselves, until like we actually experience it. So I feel like that's one reason why you shouldn't ask God to like not to take away the things that we regret, because we need those situations to really internalize, okay, this is something I shouldn't do, or this is what I need to do better in the future.
Yeah. Man, let me finish saying these quotes. Now I want to talk about God's forgiveness, right? Because when I get to that part, then you know how to release yourself from the bondage that you've been holding yourself onto. Like, for example, like prime example is somebody that gives that had an abortion. Like, I know, like, because there's somebody I knew in college that had two of them, right? One was secret. One nobody knew about the second one, but everybody knew about the first one. And like, just the shame that she walked around with. Like, one of my close friends who's gonna be in the wedding, you'll see him. Justin. He's on a whole different level, man. He's like Tigger from Winnie the Pooh. Like, that's gonna be his sock. Like, cause that's his energy level, right? His name's Theo. But he was talking about this one girl that we both knew. He said, man, and he even told her to her face. He said, "You're an Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. It's always down, moping. Well, it's me." Like, that was her, because she was always beating herself up about the abortions that she did. It was two of them, right? So she has to learn how to forgive herself, right? And so how do you do that? That looks different for everybody, right? It's a healing process. It takes time, right? So forgive yourself for the choices you made when you didn't know you had better options. Focus on growing and moving on, right? Forgive your younger self, believe in your current self, and create your future self. That's what life's all about, right? And so another quote is, you did the best you could with the information you had at that time. So forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for past mistakes is essential for growing into your full potential, right? You can't grow into your full potential. You can't receive God's breakthrough, blessings, miracles, all those things. You can't receive the good things in life if you're holding yourself down with grudges, holding yourself down. Nobody else is holding you. Your greatest enemy is you. You're the only one holding yourself back. This video is for you. It is for me, right? Just, you gotta evolve. That's why you have that, so you can evolve. This is why God let that happen, so you can be better. I'm better. Like, I'm thinking about Homelander on The Boys. I've just been thinking about him. Like, when he said, "I'm better. I'm so much better."
Wow, that's a terrible example.
Well, you're better, guys. You're better than what you were before. right? Hopefully you should be growing and evolving, right? So you're better than what you were before. So make better choices, right? Right. All right. So you only need to hear and accept one apology, and it's the one from the person who hurt you so many times. It's the one from yourself for keeping you there for so long, there in the past, there in that past hurt, there in your past circumstances. So forgive yourself first. Release the need to replay a negative situation over and over in your mind. So don't become a hostage to your past, but by always reviewing and reliving your mistakes. That is awful to just be always doing that. Don't remind yourself of what should be, could have been, and would have been. Release it and let go and move on. So there's no sense in punishing your future for the mistakes of your past. Forgive yourself, grow from it, and then let it go. I already said that. So forgive yourself. Forgiveness heals and frees your mind, your heart, and your spirit. So until you forgive yourself, you'll never be free, right? And so only one, and we said it and spoiled it earlier. The only way you can really forgive yourself is if you receive God's forgiveness, right? Like you have a part to play co-workers with God, right? Like obviously you have to forgive yourself, but the most important forgiveness you can ever receive is God's. Because if you don't have his, you're doomed, right? You're bound for hell. You're gonna be in torment. Matter of fact, everything's gonna be death for you, right? And Judas is a prime example of that. Like you don't have to die physically in order to experience death. Some people are dying right now every single day of their lives. Like all they're doing is experiencing death. They can have the best life ever, but it's like they're dead because they're spiritually dead. They don't have God around, right? They didn't receive God's forgiveness, right? So not embracing God's forgiveness is like having a check, but never getting it cashed. So don't withhold what He's freely giving you. He's already done giving it to you. So you got to receive it and accept it. So at times when we cannot face ourselves in the mirror of our soul, and forgive ourselves, we must embrace the forgiveness of Jesus and know that that's enough, right? So we must embrace God's forgiveness before we will embrace God's plans for our lives. So you're not going to ever experience God's goodness, God's mercy, God's provisions, God's blessings, all those things if you don't experience His forgiveness. You got to know you messed up. Just like Justin said, Justin spoiled it again. Like, you got to know you jacked up. You got to know you're a sinner. You got to know you make mistakes. You got to own up to it. If you don't own up to it and repent, that's what the word repent means. You got to know that you need to do better. Be better. I'm better. Well, you got to know that you need to do better so that God can help you to be better and do better and make better choices. Only He can help you to make better choices. That's a scripture verse, Proverbs 3, verse 5-6. Trust in the Lord. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him. Only then can He direct your paths. You want to know why you're so lost, why you don't ever get blessings and opportunities, and nothing never works out for you? Because you don't have God's path. You're not taking God's path in your life. You lean on your own understanding. And what do you know compared to God? Like if God is real, guys, let's be real. If God is real, what do you know compared to Him? What does anybody know compared to Him? Not crap. You don't know anything. You're stupid compared to Him. The smartest person on earth is an idiot compared to God. Because if He was smart, we would have a cure for cancer. We would have all the answers for life. There'll be no starvation on earth. There'll be no problems on earth. Like, let's call an ace an ace, right? If we were all that smart, right? Stop playing. 95% of space would be discovered. Right now, 95% of space is not discovered. 80% of the sea is not discovered. Stop playing, guys, right? You don't know anything. You have no need to request forgiveness when forgiveness has already been granted to you. Embrace forgiveness and walk in freedom that God has so graciously offered you. He's already done give it to you, right? All you got to do is accept it. So instead of living in constant condemnation, just know that Jesus once said, "It is finished." To anybody who believes, it is finished. So wake up each morning knowing that it is finished. Or you can wake up each morning and just punish yourself for all the sins that Jesus already paid for. Jesus already paid for your past mistakes, your present mistakes, and your future mistakes. He paid for it all. Everybody else will condemn you. Everybody else won't forgive you. But only forgiveness that matters is God's, right? And then the most important people will forgive you. That's all that matters. Right? But then you gotta play. You got a part to play. We're co-workers with God. You gotta forgive yourself. Justin, man, go ahead, man. I'm sorry, bro. Like,
no, you're good. Yeah, it's I actually don't have too much else to say about this question right here. But yeah, I just will reiterate, yeah, there's a good balance in there. Like if you don't have grace for yourself, it's like I don't know how gosh, it's that's like why Jesus came back, is to make sure that we had grace in ourselves, because we had gotten to the with the Pharisees, we'd gotten to the point where the law was more important. Like the law and doing things right was more important than like the Spirit of God, like the lessons that God is actually trying to imbue us. And it's like, yeah, we do need to follow God's statutes and His commandments, but it's like it's also the spirit of love and the spirit of it, of following these things that are really required. So if we don't have like that love, if we don't have that grace for ourselves, like if we don't take care of ourselves, how can we expect to take care of other people? Like it always starts with you. Like God doesn't want us to just go through the motions or go through the actions of helping other people just because He said it. He wants us to transform ourselves from the inside out first and foremost before we get into all that. What's that psalm? Like even if like I speak words of truth, or if I turn a crowd with my words, but I don't show love, like I'm just the clanging of cymbals. It's like you, if you if you like do all these great things for other people, but you haven't forgiven yourself, if you don't really show grace in your actions, then like it's all for naught. Like it's not really, that's not really the kingdom that God is trying to push.
Mm-hmm. Man, we need a part 2, man, because I got a lot more stuff to say.
Okay.
You down for part 2, man?
Yeah, I'll be down for that.
We're picking up where we left off, man. So, guys, if you enjoyed this video, you guys know what to do, man. I need you guys to really do this. Like, if you don't do this, man, you ain't helping us. You got to do these things, all right? So here goes my social media pages. I have the best social media pages ever, man. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and my podcast, Uplift Past Crossroads. I got the best. I promise you, it's going to be the best YouTube channel ever, Christian YouTube channel ever. Just give me some time. Give the Lord some time to work with me and prepare me. We got you. All right, my Facebook and LinkedIn is Sean Christopher Jenkins. My Twitter, Snap, and Instagram and TikTok is Trouble Don't Last. My other Instagram page is my_daily_Bible. My Tumblr page is Trouble Don't Last #1. And like I said, man, follow and turn on the post notifications so you know when I upload another video or make another post on Instagram, Twitter, or whatever. And I have the best Instagram page and Twitter page ever, like for real. All right, so this is my YouTube channel, and like I said, I got a lot of playlists on my YouTube channel. So if you go to Uplift Past Crossroads, that YouTube channel, you'll see that me and Justin have been doing different series, and one of the main series is that you need to know is we got a series about forgiving other people, getting rid of bitterness and resentment. So type in anything like that on my YouTube channel, and you should be able to come across this playlist and be able to listen to everything like that you want to listen to. And then also I got another playlist about forgiving yourself, don't live in the past. Check that out. Another playlist about living in regret. So anything that anytime I've done a sermon or done a video with Justin or a Bible study or anything like that, future animations, like that's why I have different playlists for topics like that. So quotes of the day, I've named a lot of quotes for you guys today. So if you like that a lot, just tune into this playlist and you'll see all the quotes that I'd be doing videos on, sometimes with Justin too. And then this is his YouTube channel, Chaplain's Log. So make sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications. So click the bell so you know when he uploads another video. And make sure to like, comment, and share all his videos. Same thing for my stuff. And then this is his Facebook page, Justin Lee Howell. So befriend him on here. You can ask him any questions on his Facebook page, and me and Justin will do a video on any questions that you had. And look how cute him and his wife is. This is Photoshop, right? Because y'all didn't have the mustache right here.
No, I bought like fake mustaches, and that's not Photoshop. We just put those on our lips.
Oh, okay. Was it itchy because y'all didn't have it right here?
No, mine just didn't. So I kind of have a real mustache going on, so mine didn't stay on. Yao's actually stayed on really well. She could have worn that thing the whole time.
Right, that's his wife Yao right here, guys. By the way, so they went to go watch Mario yesterday, right?
Yeah, man, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so I guess
a lot of kids staring at us, like, pretending not even pretending not to look at us. They just like straight up stared at us. It was fun.
Yeah, and I gotta give my fiance a shout out. She said forgiveness isn't a one-time thing; it's a constant process. So
It's an attitude for sure.
yeah, that's why I got her in fiance, guys. She be saying stuff to me that humbles me. So yeah,
just 11 more months. 11 more months.
right.
Left.
Hopefully we get there, man. But all right, guys, we'll see you guys in a minute. Peace out.
See you guys.